This is Getting On with Life, Biblical Wisdom for Successful Christian Living. I'm Chris Field, and this session is Morals from God. Morals are a key element of human existence, whether people think so or not. God created our world, and God is a moral God. So all that God created is subject to God's morality. That's why it's important for us to understand the morals from God rather than man's ideas of morals. Note Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And in Leviticus chapter 19 verse 2, speak to all the congregation of Israel and tell them, you will be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. To help us better comprehend what God's morals might be, let me point out that humans have their own version of morality. Human morals tend to focus on whether anyone is hurt or not, so they come up with suggestions like, it's okay, no one will know, or it's not going to hurt anyone. People can have the idea that if two people agree to do something and no one knows about it and no one is hurt, then what can be the harm in that? Obviously, harm to people is a significant consideration. Harm to people's property is also serious, and so too is breaking faith by not keeping our word. The ancient common law is based on protection of person, property, and promise. However, God's moral code is vastly different in that it upholds moral standards that have nothing to do with possible hurt to a person or to their property or even a breach of promise. God's moral code starts with the command to love God above all else, with everything within you. See Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 5. You are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. God's 10 Commandments tell us it is sinful to worship idols, and that we must honor our parents. See that in Exodus chapter 20 verses 4 and 5. You must not make any idol, or likeness of anything in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, or in the waters. You must not bow yourself down to them, nor serve them. And in Exodus chapter 20 verse 12, honor your father and mother, that you may live long on the land which the Lord your God gives you. Bowing to an idol doesn't hurt anyone, or damage any property. And who cares how you feel about your parents, especially once you're out of the home and making your own life? The same could be said of coveting, secretly wishing you had things that belong to someone else. What harm does it bring them if you wish to have their things but never do anything about it? God's moral code is about things God deems important, whether people think those things are important or not. God deals with us not based on our own ideas of what is right and wrong, but on His own standard of morality and holiness. And remember that God is holy, so we are measured against a very tough standard. What makes something moral? God does. Something is not moral because we say it is, or because society has changed its laws, or because everyone gets together and agrees it is so. God makes things moral or immoral by measuring those things against His own holiness. So when a child, or an adult for that matter, despises their mother or their father in their heart, even if no one ever knows, that is an immoral act. When someone secretly covets something belonging to someone else, even an intangible thing like respect or acclaim, that is an immoral act. When someone sets up an idol in their heart, such as a standard of comfort or wealth they insist they must have, then that is an immoral act. When a couple live together outside of marriage or engage in intimacy with someone outside of their marriage, it is an immoral act. When someone lies, cheats, or steals, even if no one is ever affected by it, that is an immoral act. When someone is angry and unforgiving, that is an immoral act. The consequences of such immoral acts will be felt personally by God's judgment, if not in this life, then when we stand before Him after death. But the consequences also impact our land, weather patterns, enjoyment of life, stability of mind, and much more. God brought punishments on His people when they worshipped idols, demanded that their fleshly desires are indulged, or put their trust in things other than God. Note Psalm 106 verses 13 to 18. They soon forgot God's works and did not wait for His counsel, but craved intensely in the wilderness, and tempted God in the desert. God gave them their request, but sent a wasting disease among them. When they envied Moses and Aaron, the earth swallowed Dathan and Abiram's group, and a fire consumed the wicked. And also note Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 17. Then the anger of the Lord will flame against you, and he will close the heavens, so there will be no rain, and the land will yield no fruit, and you will perish quickly off the good land the Lord is giving you. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and that fear of God involves us respecting the morals from God, whether we like them or understand them or not. And of course, responding to God when our mind might want to argue is one way to act in faith. Maybe it doesn't make sense that some things are deemed immoral when you think they are okay. If you disrespect God, you will disrespect His morals. If you fear God, you will do what God asks of you, whether it makes sense or not. And that is an act of faith. I challenge you to stop setting your own moral standard and to humbly accept what God says is His standard. Do it as an act of faith toward God, for God rewards faith, and live your life by the morals from God. God bless you.